For many years now, my friends, the best cold weather sleeping pad has been the Thermarest Xtherm. Without a doubt, it's the #1 pad to go to for cold weather camping. There's not a single air mattress out on the market today that competes with that product. It's great for summertime use. It's great for wintertime use. At the same time, it's very lightweight, very compact. Unfortunately, with all of those pros comes a huge con. It's crazy expensive. That's the biggest point, the biggest thing that has prevented the Xtherm from being adopted and used by everyone. It's just simply too expensive. How expensive? $250. I can't even say that out loud without laughing because it's so ridiculous. Naturally, when you have the best product out there, other companies try to produce their own version to steal some of that market space, right? To get some sales. And that's what a number of companies have been doing over the years. The two biggest ones that you're likely to be aware of is Nature Hike and ONETIGRIS. They have tried over and over and over and over again to try to capture some of the magic that the Xtherm has, right? But unfortunately, they have not been able to do so. Every single product that they've released has been a failure, at least in my opinion. Year after year, air mattress after air mattress, I've tested out these products, and ultimately, I have not liked them. I don't believe there's a single air mattress from Nature Hike or ONETIGRIS that I've actually liked. Allow me to word that in a different way. There has not been a single air mattress from these companies for backpacking purposes that I've actually found comfortable. That changes today, my friends. What I have here is the ONETIGRIS Noblejade Air Mattress. I have begun testing this out, and for the first time ever from one of these companies, I actually find this to be comfortable. Now folks, this is not a review. I have more testing to do. In fact, I only have one night out with this product. I know how much you all like seeing new gear, new products that hit the market. That's why I'm here with this episode. In this episode today, we will be going over every single aspect concerning this pad. Not only that, but my impressions too. As I've mentioned, I've begun testing this out, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Before we do though, let's talk about how I came upon this product. A few weeks ago, I received an email from ONETIGRIS, and they were asking me whether or not I would like to take a look at this pad. Initially, I said to myself, oh boy, here we go again. I don't know if I want to, right? All of those pads, the previous ones, have just been terrible, frankly, just absolutely awful. I continued reading the email and it said something along the lines of this. We know that you didn't like the previous pads that we produced. We understand that and we're sorry. But we feel that we've developed something that you are going to like. Would you like to test this out? This intrigued me, so I said yes, I got it in, I've begun testing it out, and here we are today with this preview. I've only done one trip out with this pad, and it was an overland trip. I took it out on an overland trip, even though this is designed for backpacking purposes, and of course you can use it for overlanding if you want to, but I took it out for that type of trip because of this. If I discovered that this pad was uncomfortable, I had a backup, right? Plain and simple, I had a backup, so if it wasn't comfortable, I could switch it out and still get a good night's rest. The thing is this, cutting to the chase. Was this comfortable? Yes, it was. Based upon my one night out with this product, so far, I'm impressed. But with that being said, I have a lot of testing to do. This is certainly not a review. Just in case you do not know, my name is Luke. This is the Outdoor Gear Review. Thank you so much for tuning in. Folks, let's take a look at the Noblejade Air Mattress from ONETIGRIS. Taking a look at the storage bag here, we have a draw pull up here at the top. We have a grab handle on top, and we also have another down at the bottom. The one on the bottom is so that you can pull the mattress out of the bag. As far as what is included, you have the storage bag, a repair kit, instructions on how to use the pump sack. You receive the air mattress with 2 compression straps, and you also receive the pump sack. Just in case you're not familiar with what a pump sack is, basically, this is a large bag that you use or you can use to inflate your sleeping pad. In the wintertime, you do not want to blow moisture into your pad because it's going to make it colder. That's why you have the pump sack. You can use this to inflate this. You have a valve right here that connects to the valve on the pad and you can inflate it. I'll show you how this works in just a minute. Up here on the top back side of the pad, you have the inflation and deflation valve. With the first cap open, this is how you inflate it. You can either use the pump sack or blow air into this. This orange piece of plastic here, this allows you to release some air. So let's say that you have this too firm, you can push on this, release just a little bit of air and make it softer. When it comes time to deflate, you simply open up the entire valve, just like so. Again, for the sake of this episode, we will use the pump sack. So you connect the valve on the pump sack to the valve on the pad. And now, we are ready to go. With the pump sack connected to the pad itself, all you have to do is open up the pump sack, filling this chamber full of air. From there, you just roll it up and you push the air into the pad itself. With this pump sack, I'm not a big fan. Up here at the top, there's some material along the top of this thing that is super, super rigid, and it wants to fold into a specific shape, which is making rolling this up really, really difficult. Oh, this is maddening to use. It does work. I just hate it, plain and simple. Ugh. It is this material here that is getting on my nerves. It is so rigid. It just wants to wad up in this weird shape, which is making inflating this very, very difficult. It's not impossible, but I definitely do not like this. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to fool with this. It's getting on my nerves. I'd rather just inflate this with my breath. Now again, in cold conditions, this is not something that you should do. So if you are even considering this, you can, of course, use this. It will get on your nerves. Or you can use some sort of inflation device, a small air pump, something like that. That is what I'm going to do, but yeah. For the sake of this episode, I'm going to inflate this with my breath. I am not going to use this. Yes, that's the sound that this pad makes when you inflate it. On the inside, there's numerous levels of material, and I'll talk more about those in just a minute. When you're blowing air into this, it sounds like a cow in a field or something. Once it's inflated, flip it around, and now this is ready to go. And yes, I am lightheaded. Whew. This, everyone, is the Noblejade Air mattress. Let's go over some stats real quick. When it comes to available colors, you're looking at it. This is basically a black color. You have some white lettering as well, along with the brown valve. When it comes to the materials, you have a polyester top and a nylon bottom. The bottom has been treated with a DWR coating so that it's water repellent. On the inside of this pad, you have a similar technology to that of the Xtherm. Basically what I'm talking about is a mylar-like material. This material reflects your body heat back to you to keep you warm, and at the same time, it reflects the cold of the ground to again keep you warm. That way the cold doesn't come up through the pad itself. Speaking of warmth, the company claims that this air mattress has an R value of 7.3, which is incredibly high. When it's stored, it measures 10.2 inches by 3.5 inches. When it's fully inflated, it is 77.5 inches long, 25.5 inches wide, and it has a thickness of almost 4 inches. It's 3.9. The weight of this air mattress is 25 ounces, which is 1.5 pounds. Concerning price, at the time of filming on Amazon, this is $84. Now let's compare how this matches up to the Xtherm. Concerning weight, the Xtherm is lighter than the Noblejade. It also compresses down. It's a little bit smaller when it's all stored. That means the Xtherm is smaller and lighter. Is it as thick as this, as wide, as long? No, no, and no. This pad is longer, wider, and thicker than the Xtherm. Concerning the R value, they are both the same. 7.3 and 7.3 for the Xtherm. When it comes to color, this one here is black. The Xtherm is a hideous baby blue. It is disgusting. When it comes to cost, this is $156 less than the Xtherm. Now folks, I want to go over my impressions of this mattress based upon my use so far. As far as quality goes, construction goes, it is excellent. Everything about this is very well made. There's no loose threads. All in all, this is a really nicely made product. As far as the design goes, it's interesting, it's different. This air mattress is almost 4 inches thick, but it's in the center of the pad. When you get to the perimeter, it's actually more like 3 or even 2.5 inches thick. Why they've done that, I do not know. I can tell you all that when laying on it, you don't notice it unless you're right on the edge for some reason. As far as the design of this goes, everything for the most part is good. My biggest complaint is actually the pump sack and the way that it rolls up at the top. There's no reason for that. That should not be there. It's so rigid and twisted and tight that it just wants to wad up, making it really, really difficult to inflate this. Next, the storage bag that comes with this is plenty large, not only for the pad itself, but also the pump sack. That is really good news because oftentimes you receive a storage bag that's too small to fit your pad back into. Luckily, that's not the case here. Size-wise, this is excellent. Plenty large for most people. What about thickness? I'm laying on this right now, and I can tell you all that I am completely off of the ground. That 4 inches is really appreciated. When I sit up like this, my butt does push into the ground. When I turn on my side here, I am completely off of the ground. This is very comfortable, and I do not notice that I'm being pulled towards the edges. Not unless I roll back to one side and I'm really, really close. Then I do want to roll off. That's an interesting feature to this pad, an interesting design decision, and it's one that I don't fully understand. The only time that you really notice this is when you're laying down. Let's say you're flat, right? And you want to roll over on your side. If you're too close to the edge, you will feel your body weight wanting to rotate off of the pad. If this was fully 4 inches all the way around, you would not have that issue. Anyways, on your side, you're completely off of the ground and it is comfortable. Laying on your stomach, it's completely comfortable. Continuing to talk about comfort, this is the very first air mattress, and I'm talking about for backpacking purposes, from ONETIGRIS that I've actually slept good on. The very first one. As I mentioned before, I went out on one trip with this pad so far, and I slept great. I really did. This is a very comfortable pad. Based upon that one night out, I say that. The only thing that I do notice are the sides, the perimeter. And I wish the company did not make them smaller than the center of the pad. And again, that's because if you have your weight to one side too close to the edge, you can actually feel your body weight wanting to roll off of it. Obviously, the company wanted to do that to drop the weight a little bit, to make it a little bit more compressible, and at the same time to keep the price lower. Less material used, in other words. As far as the weight goes, it's excellent, especially for a 4th season sleeping pad, a wintertime sleeping pad. When it's all stored up, the size is good too. As far as this pad being warm goes, it is too early to comment on that. When I took this out for a trip, the low that night was 50 degrees. At 50 degrees, you don't even need an insulated pad, so more testing has to be done, and it will be done. With that being said though, the company claims this has a 7.3 R value, which is very, very high. I'm going to believe ONETIGRIS on these claims, or at least I'm going to give them the benefit of a doubt, and this is why. the company has actually posted their testing results with a company known as SGS. The odds are most people don't know this. I'm aware of this company because I test out products. But SGS is a Swiss company, and they do a wide range of testing. They're actually quite a large company. They have around 100,000 employees, thousands of labs all across the world. They are very well known, not only in the outdoor space, but industries of all types. Industrial, manufacturing, medical, and so on. Looking at the documents which ONETIGRIS has posted online, this does in fact have a 7.3 R value, and that is very impressive. Now, of course, we'll have to test this out, but this is looking very promising. Other important points to make note of. While using this on my one trip, I experienced no leaking at all. Next, as far as noise goes, in my opinion, this is not bad, but I will say this. This air mattress uses a similar technology to that of the Xtherm, and we're talking about a thermoreflective insulation layer, or I should say layers. These layers are on the inside, and again, they reflect back body heat to the user, and they reflect back cold from the ground. The thermal reflective technology, the mylar material that's built into this is not a new product when it comes to the outdoor space. There are a lot of air mattresses that use this, including the Xtherm. The Xtherm is considered to be a noisy pad, and for some people, they may find this one noisy too. Synthetic fill insulation pads are definitely quieter. With that being said, I've never had an issue with the Xtherm, and I don't have an issue with this one. In my opinion, the noise that it makes is nothing that's going to wake me up. It never did. The Xtherm never did. But for some people, if they're a light sleeper, this is certainly not the same as being on your mattress at home. There is a slight crinkling sound to this material. Again, if you're a light sleeper, I would skip this, I would skip the Xtherm. But if you can handle just a little bit of noise, I don't think you're going to have any problems here. I certainly have not. The only thing that I've noticed from this pad is when you inflate it. When you inflate it, it oftentimes makes the sound of a cow out in a field doing something. Something, folks, that's all I'm going to say. Ultimately, that's a nitpick. It doesn't matter, but inflating this does certainly make a unique noise. And that, my friends, is where we will end this episode. This has been a preview of the Noblejade. So far, I have to say, I'm impressed. I'm impressed when you compare this to their other air mattresses for backpacking purposes. I'm not talking about their overlanding mattresses because they're quite good. It's their backpacking mattresses that they've always had issues with. This one here solves a lot of those issues. But with that being said, improvements could be made to the Noblejade, and we can see those already. But all in all, this is looking very promising once you consider how warm it is, or how warm it should be. A 7.3 R value on an air mattress is very, very impressive. And this is a whole lot less expensive than the Xtherm, and that does need to be considered. This is in full testing right now, and ultimately I will report back with my review. My agenda-free review. I do want to give ONETIGRIS some props for sending this in so I can test it out. That takes some balls, right? Especially with how vocal I have been about their previous air mattresses. This one right here is the first one that I've actually slept good on. This is not the first time that they've used a mylar sort of technology, but this is the first time I've ever been comfortable on one of their backpacking air mattresses. For this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review, I am done. Folks, I appreciate you all very much for watching this episode, for checking out this product. Comment down below and share your thoughts. What do you all think about this? Is this looking promising, or does more work need to be done? Comment down below. Until next time, everyone, take care, be well, strength and honor.